going on, everyone? Bradley Beal. He has been extremely loyal to the Washington Wizards in the same mold that Damian Lillard has been to the Portland Trail Blazers. He just re-signed a new contract with them this upcoming season and are with the Wizards for the long haul. There's been a lot of talks about, championships, and many people feel that he staying with the Wizards basically guarantees he's not going to win a championship. How does he feel like that? He spoke out even recently and said, it would feel much more valued if I stayed in Washington, was able to win a championship. So the big question is, can Washington put a team around Bradley Beal that can make him a legit competitor? Well, one of the teams that are trying to acquire Donovan Mitchell is the Washington Wizards. And we have a new report that Washington is extremely confident in the package that they presented. Now, we don't know exactly what the package is for Donovan Mitchell at this time, but they have put together supposedly what they believe is a strong enough package to acquire Donovan Mitchell in a deal. Now, we know the Knicks were kind of the front runners, but they just extended R.J. Barrett, which makes things a lot more complicated. Now, they could get a deal done without Barrett, but that was kind of like the piece. They were willing to move Barrett to go get Donovan Mitchell. Also, Donovan Mitchell doesn't make as much sense for the Knicks as he does for the Wizards, even though I think Bradley Beal and Donovan Mitchell, again, you have the same backcourt problems defensively, but kind of makes a little more sense than Brunson and Donovan. Not by much, but in my opinion, it does. And then the Wizards, they just want to put a team out there that goes, hey, look what we did for you. Look what we got you. You were loyal to us. We went and got you a guy that can help take the scoring load off of you. You still have Kristaps Porzingis, who he's looked great overseas during the qualifiers and stuff like that. He's really been putting up numbers and stuff. So it's like, oh, here you got all these pieces, all of these. We traded the assets. We got you a team that's more equipped to handle the top teams in the Eastern Conference and maybe make some noise. I think that even if they were to acquire Donovan Mitchell, they're still not a contender. Or I still think that they are a fringe, play-in team to maybe they could squeeze into that 6th seed. I really think after the top 5, it really drops off as far as talent of teams-wise. So, the Wizards really could just kind of plug in the 6 to 8 range somewhere. But if you're in the 7 to 8 range, then you're in the play-in. So, I don't think that this makes them that much better, but who knows? Porzingis, if you, assuming they don't trade Porzingis, but if you keep Porzingis, because I imagine that would be the idea. Even in the report, it talked about how, the goal would be to keep Porzingis and keep, obviously, Bradley Beal. So, yeah, I could see that making sense. And if you have those three, even the report talked about keeping both Porzingis and Bradley Beal, obviously, to create this big three. And if all three of them are playing well and hitting and stuff, it could make for a pretty good scoring big three. Defensively, they're not going to be that great, although Porzingis, he can kind of hold his own at times defensively, but he's been very frail, very injury prone. A lot of questions around him. But if they keep Kristaps Porzingis, what does the trade look like? And what could the Wizards have proposed to the Jazz? Again, we don't know exactly, but based on the report, this is kind of what they put together, which does make the most sense. I think this is the only way to get there, unless you trade Porzingis. But young talents such as Rui Hachimura, Denny Ajay, and then rookie Johnny Davis would also have to be on the move for value purposes. These 3 players' contracts add up to about $15.9 million. And combined with Kuzma, the Wizards would have about a $28.9 million in outgoing salaries, enough to bring in Donovan Mitchell's contract. Now, this makes a lot of sense. You're going to give up a couple draft picks also. The Wizards have the 25th and 27th, or 25 and 27th pick. They can't trade the 24 pick because the 24 pick was part of the Wall deal. So the next available picks that they have would be 25 and 27. So they could trade those 2 picks, maybe throw in a pick swap or 2, and then these 3 young guys along with Kuzma would probably get it done, or maybe they could keep 1 or 2 of these guys. But you got to imagine Hachimura and Kuzma are gone for sure. Johnny Davis, he's a rookie, so you want to get the rookie guys. So maybe those three, and then the couple firsts would get it done. Because you're gonna have to choose between Kuzma and Porzingis. And personally, I would probably keep Kuzma just because he's younger, better defensively, and he averaged 17 points a game last season for the Wizards. Was one of their better rotation guys, one of their better players. In many ways, kind of stepped into his own a lot more last year, and I think he's only going to get better. But he would also be a lot more appealing to a team like the Utah Jazz, right? Because he's only 27, so you have him to kind of be, a fixture, a centerpiece, along with Hachimura. You got him, and then Davis as a rookie, and then you still got, Vanderbilt and all these other guys, these young guys that you can kind of start navigating through and shifting through and figuring out which guys are we going to keep, which guys are we going to get rid of. Like Porzingis doesn't make sense for them unless they want to just clear salary, and kind of, like the whole Westbrook thing. But I think that ultimately it'll be, they'll keep Porzingis, and then they'll end up trading Kyle Kuzma. And I think that's not a bad package. Kyle Kuzma, Hachimura, Davis, Ajay, and 2 firsts. That's up there. That's pretty good. Seriously, Kuzma becomes your best player and is established, and you can kind of see what he can do as like the number one guy on a team. You get a couple young prospects and talents that you can grow, and then on top of that, you get some draft picks. I could see why the Wizards would be pretty confident in this deal. And if you're Washington, ideally you'd want to try to keep Hachimura just to have like that wing guy, but I don't see how that becomes a reality. I do think he's gone. You got to get rid of him. So, but you have this big three of Mitchell, Beal, and Porzingis. Porzingis has looked really good over this summer. So if he can kind of translate that to the NBA, like I said, you might have a solid big three. I don't think they're going anywhere, but at least you can say, hey, look what we did for you, Bradley Beal. We went and got you this big three. Porzingis, he's probably opting in next season, but after the next season, then he becomes an expiring contract. So now maybe you can, if he works out, re-sign him for less or let him go, try to get some other pieces, maybe move him in another deal to get some assets around Beal and Donovan Mitchell, if that was the case. Now, I think that Donovan Mitchell and Bradley Beal are a pretty nice pairing. Problem is that I feel like you're better off having a bunch of depth and like role guys rather than Kristaps Porzingis. And I'm sure the Wizards would probably keep Kristaps, but if I'm being honest, I would try to trade him for like 2 like rotation guys, just because you're gonna need depth, especially after you lose basically half your roster to just go get a Donovan Mitchell deal. And Kristaps kind of becomes irrelevant if you go get Mitchell, because you have enough scoring between Beal and Mitchell. All you need are you just need defensive guys at that point, and like 3-and-D guys. So if you can move Kristaps Porzingis to a team to get 2 rotation guys or something along those lines, I think that would be the best route to go. But Kuzma's gone, and I think Kuzma's gonna hurt. I would personally rather trade Porzingis and keep Kuzma, because I think Kuzma, like I said, he gives you that defense, he gives you that scoring, he can play off the ball, so he doesn't need the ball in his hands. I would rather have a big three of Mitchell, Beal, and Kuz over Porzingis. That's just me personally, but I think that Kuzma would give you a lot more and do all the things that Kristaps can't do, especially on the perimeter. That's the biggest need right now for all teams, is perimeter defense, because you just have so many great shooters and so many great wing players in the NBA now. You need that depth, and they're basically losing all of them. So again, it's one of those things, if you're the Wizards, why? I understand, you want to show face, you want to show the fans, and you want to show Bradley Beal. But Beal and Mitchell, does that really move the needle that much? especially for everything you're giving up. And I think like I said, I think is going to be the toughest loss. Because, I mean, the dude was average 17 and 8 or something like that a game, and still was dishing out assists, playing solid defense. He's great in the team defense. He's great in individual defense. He's not the greatest defender in the world, but he's good enough. He's serviceable. He's got the size. He's got the length. He's still young enough. But this is going to be the coveted guy for Utah, right? Because you're getting, at bare minimum, a 17-point-a-game guy that you're looking at it as he's going to be the only guy. So he's going to if he's scoring 17 with guys like Bradley Beal and stuff like that, he'll probably put up 20 for us. So, you got this guy that can kind of be your load carrier in the meantime. And then you get some young talent. You got all those draft picks. You could expedite your rebuild pretty quickly. All you need to do is hit on like 2 of those draft picks or 3 of those draft picks. And especially if you have a guy like Kuz, if Vanderbilt continues to be solid, stuff like that. Like, you might only need 2 or 3 guys in the draft, and then you could package everything else and go get the next disgruntled superstar or 2. Because there's going to be another one. Every couple years, or every couple months, I should say, every like 6 months or so, it seems like there's some star somewhere that's like, I want out. I want to be traded. I want to go to another team. And so I think it's a matter of when, not if, some star is going to want out and want to go somewhere. And if you're Utah, Utah's never been like a prime destination, but, if you have enough solid talent over there and a star player looks at that and goes, hey, I could probably win with those guys, a lot would change. You put yourself in a position to be a contender. So, Utah, I think this is a great deal for Utah. You get basically 4 young guys that can, you're basically getting more proven guys now than draft picks. You're getting guys that you can, where like the Knicks deal is more draft picks oriented, where this is more like, here's some young talent you can already develop. So it just comes down to, are there any guys other than Kuzma that the Jazz value and see, like, okay, that guy we could take and really turn him into something? That's going to be key. That's going to be big. But anyway, as always, I pass the question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below. What do you think of the Washington Wizards going after Donovan Mitchell? Do you think it makes a lot of sense? Do you want to see it happen? Do you not want to see it happen? I just think that Donovan Mitchell to Washington is kind of just like a showing face, like, oh, look what we did. We got you this. Look what we got you. Hey, Bradley, you were loyal to us. We're loyal to you. We traded everybody and we got you another go-to scorer. And Bradley Beal feels like, yeah, okay, I'm good. And then when they're the 8th seed, he's going to be like, okay, so that didn't work. That's kind of how I look at it. But I don't know. Again, however you feel about it, I'd really love to hear your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below. One last little shameless plug is I did start As It Stands Lakers. It is a channel just like this, dedicated to only the Lakers, because the Lakers are my favorite team. And on this channel, As It Stands, I talk about all teams, all sports, stuff like that. We have football season coming up, so I'm definitely looking forward to that as well. And I just wanted to make a dedicated channel to the Lakers to give the ins and outs. Now, all the big stuff, all the big news and stuff, I will still post here on this channel. But if you want all the ins and outs and just rumors and theories and just discussions just strictly on the Lakers, link down in the description or in the comment section. Go check out the channel, subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate it. That being said, hit that like button. Helps me out a lot. Lets me know you enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. If you're not subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button, followed by the bell notification. Stay up to date with all things sports. Join this wonderful community and all of our discussions. I'll see you all in the next one. Thank you.